All right, let's talk about Google's AI overviews. We have to, because this is probably one of the biggest shifts we've ever seen in how we find things online. And trust me, this isn't just some new feature. It's like Google just completely rewrote the rulebook for search.
For as long as I can remember, Google has been a search engine, right? You type something in, you get a list of links. Well, that's changing. It's becoming an answer engine. Its goal now is to give you the information directly. And that one little change, it's creating a whole new world online. So, if your business gets any traffic from Google, and let's be real, whose doesn't, this is the question you need to be asking yourself. The old ways of getting found are being replaced, and you just can't afford to ignore this.
So what exactly is an AI overview? Well, think of it like this. Google's AI reads a bunch of different websites on a topic, pulls out the most important bits, and then puts it all together into one simple answer for you, right there at the top of the page.
Let's break down what you actually see. You've got the AI written summary, of course, but it also includes links to the websites it got the info from, which is super important. And it even suggests what you might want to ask next. Really, the best way to think about it is like a super featured snippet. You know that box at the top? Well, this is that, but on a whole other level. So this brings us to the new rules of the game. We're going to dive into how this AI-powered shift completely changes how people search, and more importantly, what you need to do to actually get noticed now.
That's a great question, because you're not going to see them for every single search. Google seems to be rolling them out for the more complex, trickier questions. So think less pizza near me and more like, well, like these.
You know, searches like this one, where you're trying to compare a few things and figure out the pros and cons. An AI overview is perfect for this, because it can summarize everything from a bunch of different reviews, saving you from having to open up 10 different tabs.
How-to guides are another big one. Anytime someone is looking for a process or a step-by-step plan, the AIO is designed to pull together a clear, easy-to-follow list right in the search results. And, of course, these kinds of problem-solving questions. You know, the ones that need a bit more research and explanation. AI overviews are built to handle exactly these kinds of deep dive topics.
Okay, this table right here, this is where it all clicks. In the old world, the goal was just to get someone to click your link. But now, Google wants to give them the answer right away. So people aren't scanning a list of blue links anymore, they're reading a single summary. And here's the absolute key. The grand prize isn't just being the #1 result anymore. It's being cited as a trusted source inside that AI overview.
So what does this all mean for your business? Well, it means the game has totally changed. It kind of levels the playing field. You don't have to be the biggest website out there, you just have to be the most helpful. And that high-quality, well-structured content we've all been talking about for years, it's not just a nice-to-have anymore, it's a requirement. Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. Now let's get into the how. This next part is your playbook. It's a practical guide to help you tweak your strategy and actually win in this new era of search. We've boiled it all down into a super clear 7-point action plan. Seriously, if you follow these steps, you'll be on the fastest track to getting your content featured in those AI overviews. So here's the playbook at a glance. It really boils down to a few key areas. First, you've got to create amazing, comprehensive content that's easy to read. Then it's about building up your authority. After that, you've got to prove you're credible through something Google calls EEAT. We'll get to that. And finally, you need the technical stuff in place, like a fast, mobile-friendly site, and you've got to keep your content fresh. Let's dive into some of the most important ones.
First things first, your content has to be the whole package. Don't just answer one tiny piece of the puzzle. You need to start with a really clear summary. Cover the what, the why, and the how, and even think about adding an FAQ section to answer those follow-up questions. Your goal should be to create the single most helpful page on that topic, period.
And how you present that info is just as important. Look at this. On the left, you've got a giant wall of text. It's tough for anyone to read, including Google's AI. But on the right, it's clean, it's structured. Using things like headings, bullet points, and lists makes it incredibly easy for Google to pull out your information and feature it.
All right, let's talk about a concept that is now absolutely essential. It's called EEAT. I mean, think about it. If Google is going to quote you in its official answer, it has to be 100% sure that you're a credible source. EEAT is how it figures that out. So what does it stand for? Experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Basically, Google is asking, does this person have real-world experience with this topic? Do they have the credentials to be considered an expert? Is their website seen as an authority in the industry? And can we, and our users, trust them?
You have to signal all of these things. Now, here's a really powerful strategy that ties into all of this. Stop thinking about just writing single blog posts. Start building topic clusters. This is where you create one big central page on a broad topic and then surround it with a bunch of smaller, more specific articles that all link back to it. This is how you show Google that you have deep, real expertise on a subject.
So let's wrap this up and talk about your next move. The most important thing to understand is that AI overviews aren't some passing trend. For any search that requires real thought, this is the new front page of Google.
For decades, the most sought-after spot online was that #1 organic search result. Well, that's over. Today, being cited as a trusted source inside an AI overview, that is the new position 1. That's the top prize.
So here's the bottom line. AI overviews are here to give people direct answers. To get featured, your content has to be incredibly helpful, super clear, and come from a source that screams expertise. And you know what? While this is a huge change, it's also a massive opportunity for anyone who's willing to adapt and play by the new rules.
And that really leaves us with one last question to think about. When you look at your own website, at your own content strategy, you have to ask yourself this. In this new age of AI, are you building a truly trusted source that Google would be proud to feature? Or are you just creating another link in a very, very long list? The answer to that question is going to define your future on Google.